Framer 3.0 has literally just dropped, but I will not be changing my workflows. And the reason is you're still going to be locked into a specific platform. For the last few months, I've been using only Claude Code or Codex to design websites, and I've not touched Framer for months. Now, we've built hundreds of client websites on Framer, so we know it, we like it. It's been a great tool in the past, but frankly, when AI started becoming incredibly good at creating great visuals, UI, UX, etc., we moved completely over. So now that this has literally just been dropped, looks pretty damn interesting. Let's give it a test drive. We're going to be taking some specific prompts, dropping it in, seeing how useful it is as a tool, and just to see if they've improved any things. All right, without further ado, let's get started. So I'm over here in Framer's product section. Okay, so these are all of the new updates it's got. So I've gone to AI agents for designing, updating, improving sites. All right, so what they've got here is a bunch of updates. Now, I'm going to go straight over to here and say build new sites from scratch. And you can see they've got a bunch of prompts that they've already created for us. Okay. Build a landing page for a coffee roastery called Embed Roast with a hero featured blah, blah, blah. All right. So let's take that prompt, open up Framer, and let's go to new chat and let's select GPT 5.5. So that's fine. And we pop that in and we send it. All right, now obviously this is now clearly plugging into GPT 5.5. So let's see how it comes out, because frankly, the difference between designing inside of AI versus designing in Framer, I'm hoping, will be the fact that we can make edits, we can make tweaks, and we can also collaborate as a team, which frankly, Claude Code, Codex, etc., you can't really do at the moment. All right, so let's give that a sec and see what comes back. All right, guys, so first design is done, and here is the page. So kind of underwhelming, I'm not going to lie. But what I will say is cool about this is how easily editable everything is. Okay, so everything is broken down exactly as we know it in Framer. Components. Okay, we've got editable text. Very, very easy from that standpoint. Okay, so let's go click this one, which I saw in a demo, which is generate breakpoints, which is basically done first shot in Claude or Gemini or Codex anyway. So let's just add the responsive nature to it. All right, so comparatively, I mean, the design out of the box is nothing special. Okay, so it's reviewing and making some changes itself now, which is really cool. So you can see it's actually tweaking the components. Now, I remember spending hours in Framer trying to do just that thing. Okay, so this is actually a really cool feature. Let's see if it fixes mobile. Yep, mobile is fixing. Okay, well done, Framer. That's kind of cool. All right, beautiful. All right, so we got our breakpoints locked and loaded. Very nice. Job done. Now, obviously, the design is pretty basic. So let's go out and test something a little bit different, shall we, guys? So I'm going to go back to Framer's main page, and I'm going to go over here. Oh, that's cheeky, isn't it? Okay, so they allow you to give URLs from live sites. I'm attaching a screenshot of our Webflow site. That's very funny. From references, here's a screenshot from our competitor site. Build something similar, but with our brand colors and logo. Here's a current WordPress site. Rebuild it with Framer. Mate, no chill. Framer's got no chill, guys. Okay, so it's interesting how they've actually got all of these prompts out here, which is probably very smart from Framer, I'm not gonna lie. Okay, I'm gonna go for this because this is funny. All right, here's a screenshot of a competitor site. So let's take that. Let's go new project. All right, we're going to go there. We're going to drop it there. We're going to get now a nice reference. Okay, so I'm going to go into Pinterest, find a competitor. Web design. All right, let's go for this. Copy page, back to Framer, drop in the reference, and let's see what it does. All right, so you can see your Framer is asking some questions. So we're just going to go text logo for now. What color direction should we use? Let's go for black, white, subtle green. All right, let's check back with it in a sec and see what it's done. All right, guys, so we can actually watch Framer creating in real time right now. All right, so it's changing the opacity of the H1. Let's see if it's going to fix what's going on over here. And let's see if it actually creates the rest of the layout too. All right, here we go. Okay, I like this feature of being able to see a site being built right in front of my eyes. That's pretty cool. here is the design. Now, if we just look at the original, all right, so it's matched it pretty closely. And I mean, really the most amazing benefit of this is just how every little component is completely editable and replicatable across another site. So it's chosen the images, it's got this thing going on here. Obviously the hero section is not that accurate, but you can see why that happened because the image actually has this whole sort of padded border around it, which is maybe a bit of a mistake on my part. But I mean, the typography is clean. All right. It looks good. So this is a lot more refined than I would say, what we're getting from AI models at the moment, because this is completely adjustable. All right. So if you actually understand your way around Framer, which might take a little bit of time if you've not used it before, very, very good. Worlds better than what we had before on Framer itself. Now, all right. So let's just do the responsive test as well. And just a quick story. So I remember designing this client site, and I remember designing the homepage completely by hand, by scratch, and then trying to duplicate it and make it responsive. And I remember just how painstakingly painful it was. And that is only a few months ago, by the way. So the fact that this is a feature right now, makes me incredibly happy. So you can see it's gone ahead and made that completely mobile responsive. None of the H1s and the text is like hanging off weirdly on the page. Oh, spoke too soon, didn't I? Thank you, Framer Agent. So it caught it at the last minute there. All right, so very good test. Now, let's do another one. Let's not stop there. All right, so what I'm going to do now is prompt it to create a multi-page website. All right, so we've got another clean canvas. We're going to go GPT 5.5. And we're going to create a 4-page site for a SaaS product, a landing page with a feature section, pricing, 3 tiers, a blog index page connected to a CMS, and a change log. Okay, so that's slightly more complicated in regards to what we're actually asking it to do. So let's run that and see what happens. But so far, this is pretty damn cool. All right, so header and footer is in. Apparently the CMS has been created already. So let's see what it designs. Hey guys, so the multi-page site is done. And as you can see here, I'm almost out of credits and we've only really scratched the surface. I haven't really built anything substantial. So that's a little bit frustrating. Okay, but you can see here, this is the site. Let's just make that full screen. And, it's nothing special, right? I think the font and the text here is like really bold and big. The blog isn't actually interactive yet. Change log. Okay. So yeah, I mean, look, I'm not blown away. Let's just put it that way. All right. So let's just check out what the CMS actually looks like. Okay. So we've got some content. Obviously, the content is a little bit populated there, but I don't see any option for autonomous publishing unless I am being a bit blind. Okay. But I'm sure we could potentially connect to something like Notion or, something like this. But if I just go back to the canvas over here, now we're almost 80% out of credits. Now, just for some context, okay, for my Codex and for my Claude subscriptions, I pay $200 a month and I can pretty much design unlimited landing pages, sales pages, and websites for my clients. So it just gives me full creative freedom. And I just feel like I'm hitting these pretty damn quickly. Now, I'm on a paid account on Framer and I'm not so blown away by this. Now, where I do think this actually has benefits is just from a control standpoint. If you're someone who really wants to be able to go into the nitty gritty and do all of this stuff and change it just by typing, then this is going to be good for you. But the thing is, with designing inside of Claude or Codex, like you can do that anyway by just selecting on it and telling Codex to make the update and make the change. And plus, you can actually already do text changes inside of Google AI Studio, and you've got better usage limits, etc., etc. So I appreciate the effort from Framer, but I will not be changing my workflows. I won't be going away from an AI generated workflow. And the reason is this. Okay, I want to control and own the code base of my entire website and my digital home. The reason I want that control is because I'm not locked in via usage credits. I'm not locked in via subscription, and I have full autonomy on how I ultimately want to customize the thing, which frankly, Framer cannot do, right? Because we're still locked into their platform, their way of doing things. I appreciate the effort. I appreciate what they've done. There might be a use case for this when I need to really just do some surgical edits. But frankly, there's nothing different to using Framer's new AI Framer 3 versus designing directly into Claude Code or Codex. Okay. And frankly, the Claude Code and Codex gives you your own data, gives you your own code base, and you can make changes to it completely autonomously. So for me, what this signals and what this shows is that big platforms like Framer and Webflow and WordPress and GHL, they're all becoming AI native, which is fantastic. But you're still going to be locked into a specific platform. And that's why I recommend to all of my clients, and what we do for all of our clients is build their own site front ends and own site dashboard and own site back ends, which means the CMS system, the CRM system, completely custom from the ground up. Now, that sounds a lot harder than it actually is, because you can actually get your agents to do that completely for you, and then you don't have to screw around with another subscription. Exactly the way I built this custom CMS system for our digital home front end, because you can see here, anytime content is published on that CRM, I've got all of my content appearing directly, perfectly formatted onto my page here, and it's perfectly SEO, GEO optimized. All right. And I own all of this data. I own this backend. No, I don't pay any subscriptions for this website. Okay. So the more AI improves, the better my site actually gets, because it's built with the agentic capabilities baked into it from day one. Now, another point is that website design is a dying service, right? If you are only designing websites for clients, you are literally going to be in a race to the bottom. You're going to be commodified. The only way that you can pivot to stay relevant is to start building the infrastructure around the websites that help your clients get to a specific outcome. Now, whether that outcome is for your own brand or business, or whether it's for your clients, you're going to get paid a lot more money if you are actually responsible for helping them get to a dream outcome, whether that's to generate more leads, generate more revenue, etc. The website is one piece of the puzzle, and more people are going to be able to design websites at the click of a finger. So it's not really a defensible moat anymore. So what I highly recommend you do is you start learning how to build what we call a digital home, which is a website upgraded into an AI native infrastructure and system, which can be automated, it's customizable, and it gets better and better and better every time a new model comes out, which to me is important, because every time a new model comes out, I celebrate. I'm not scared of my job being taken, because I know that I'm building towards outcomes that people want. And people have always wanted the same things ever since Jesus was playing fullback for flippin' Team Jerusalem. They want to be able to make more money, have better relationships, or be healthier. All right. So my friend, if you want to learn how to build a digital home, links in the description. I'll see you on the inside. Peace out.